Alright, here we are. Alright, cool. Let's start. Hello, I am Sentimus Prime, and here I will be opening and building the Blokeestransformers Classic Class Scourge from the Transformers Rise of the Beasts movie. Alright. Sweetness. Just felt like putting together a model kit today, so let's got X-Acto knife, got cutters. Let's go ahead and start. We can start with just taking a look at the box. Looks pretty nice as per usual. Very neat. Like, you do get a nice look at the figure itself. Blokee's logo, Transformers logo, model kits, other like advertisement stuff here, classic class, name and faction, as well as some like licensing labels and stuff. And also, of course, that hollow effect, that like rainbowy hollow effect that Blokee's typically does for their boxes, which is neat. Here's how the top looks. Do get another shot of Scourge right there. Neato. Over here on this side, we do get another shot of Scourge, as well as his faction symbol, name, and obviously number 3 in this classic class lineup. Here's this side, which includes another shot of the included kit, as well as some alternate accessories, as well as like a shot of like the rear of like the back of the figure, which is nice. Down here, not a whole lot going on here. You do get some warning labels and stuff, but you also get a space that you could just place like a price tag on it for selling this at like a collector's based like toy shop of some kind, I guess. Over here on the back of the box, we have some we do get a look at what some of the sprues are going to look like. Over here we have lots of like we have a sort of bio thing here for Scourge, as well as some product shots with him, with the classic class Bumblebee that Blokee's has done for him. They're rather nice. Okay. And with that, let's go ahead and get this guy open. Why not? Swing. Piece of tape up here, you could just slice open. Close that up. Alright, so let's go ahead and see what's inside. And also, yeah, a little flap hiding some details, the title of the movie. So for that, let's go ahead and either place this for the background for now, I guess. And so, this stuff is what is included. So we can go ahead and start with the paper stuff. Here we have the instructions. We open it up, it reveals that it does come with a sticker sheet, though the only stickers that it has are the ones for the base plate pieces. So there is that. We'll place that in the back for now. Here's like instructions on in terms of like how to swap out the batteries, I guess, because this is a kit that does include the batteries for its light up function, which is nice. And here we have the instructions, which do flip out and show the building process, as well as show the list of like included parts. And also like some little things of advertisements, like for other entries in like this class like lineup. Cool. So that's it for the instructions, but we'll be using those. But for now, let's go see what's in here. So starting off with this, let's open this up. Here we have a couple of these base plates. These like base plate kind of things that do lock together, like so, and it is a reasonably solid connection. And it can also be attached this way as well. Not much to go on here since I already covered these before. But I like pretty much the summary for it. Now let's actually get on to the sprues stuff. Here's the bag with the small sprues. So, it includes two of these small sprues that I am quite familiar with. Each one of these small ones. So each one of these like small ones like comes with the parts to make two knee and or elbow joints. Like you get the parts to make two for each sprue like this, and also a singular shoulder joint, as well as one of these either Autobot or Decepticon faction symbols like things. So you got two of those in here, which is fascinating, I guess, because the classic class ones that I've opened usually only came with one of these, but I think this one comes with two, because I think that the shoulder ones might take both of the shoulder pieces, which would be interesting. And hello. Hold on. I want to take time to read the name. I'm so sorry. That's so. So a bra is to. I'm getting that one so wrong. I'm so sorry for even trying to pronounce that. But I do appreciate you stopping by and saying hi. So anyway, so the bag came with two of these, and also a D4 sprue. This one comes with 6 pieces, two of these, which are obviously going to be like the bicep parts, as well as 2 really tiny detail pieces, and 2 of these pieces right here. Now we can go ahead and and with that, now we can go ahead and look at the larger sprue. Get that off to the side, and this is where like the majority of the parts are. So you have A1 and A2. We'll check out A1 first. So A1, we do get some like more fascinating stuff in here. We have parts for the feet, parts for the blades. You get like claw hand pieces. You got detailed like parts for the torso, like and for detailed parts for the limbs. Blade piece and ooh, the mask. You get like a little mask. You get like his little mask thing as well. Alright, that's neat. That's neat. And for A2, you have more stuff for the limbs. You got stuff for the lower crotch area. You got parts for the helmets and like more parts for like armor and stuff. I'm like, okay, neat. And then there's this. So in here, what do we get? Okay, so opening that. These are the parts that are not connected by sprues. So included are two of these flame kind of pieces. So yeah, included are two of these flame kind of pieces. We've seen this. For those who've seen some of my previous stuff, we have seen this before with the classic class Bumblebees ones, but these ones are more done in like a darker, fiery orange, whereas the Bumblebee ones is like a brighter, like more yellowishy kind of color. So there is that. Cool to get like a different. It's the same effect piece, but in different colors. So that's nice. Also comes with two of these clear ball joint pieces, but in translucent orange. Nice. The same orange they use for the flames. You also got face. What a face. That is definitely a face. Cool. Here is also like the core, like this is like the headpiece that allows light piping to happen. This is what like fills in the eyes and allows for light piping to happen, which is nice. Then we have this. This is the this one's in. This is like the torso piece that the Blockies really likes to use. So yeah, this time it's done up in a translucent orange. You can even see like a lot of the like internal stuff. Like even back here, you can see the battery. You can see the battery back there. That's neat. And there is, of course, a clear plastic tab here that prevents it from lighting up during shipping, which is appreciated. That way, it just doesn't die on you as soon as you get it. And also some like printed detail, including like Scourge's logo right there. Some like lightning stuff, like details and stuff, and yeah, really neat. And so with that, I feel like it's fair enough that we can start with the building process. I'll put this here for now. So, where would be a fair enough place to start this off? I think a fair enough place to start off with would, I guess, would be the torso. So let's grab our torso piece, grab our snippers, and yeah, let's start cutting and building, just chilling out. All right. Whoops. Whoopsies. And yeah, and this is a great time to interact with the chat. You can basically ask me, you basically ask me whatever to start up a conversation on the chat. That'll be very much appreciated. All right. Okay, we got like the chest piece. Then we're gone. Okay, there's that piece. What else? It does in fact want us to grab the shoulder pieces. Okay, so that's one shoulder piece. Then the other one is on the other sprue. Alright, there we go. Alright. We'll cut off more parts from there when we need to. Obviously need a neck joint. So we're starting off with body. And I believe with that, that's all the pieces we should need for the body. So I guess we can go on with assembly. So we can remove that. Add already starting to light up since I already removed the plastic piece. Ain't that neat? Alright, so first we add the shoulder pieces, then the back piece, and this will basically work the same way as like the Galaxy version ones that you would see, where like the little nubs here on the shoulders will line up with these grooves. Will line up with those grooves here on either end, like so. Same goes for the other portion. Okay, that's shut off. Add that there, and then we can add the grill piece on top of that. Hello, Rebecca Hancock. How are you doing? That's good. There we go. Huh. Not as tight of a connection as I would thought, but that should be fine. Alright, but with that, here we have the torso done. Hello there, Nicole Jones. How are you doing? Oh, got lighting up. Sweet. Ain't that just a pretty sight? I'm gonna try to set that off to the side for now to hopefully keep it off until we need it for like the big reveal of some sort. So we got the body done. Next reasonable option. Obviously the next reasonable place to go from there would be the lower body. So let's go ahead and do that. That's one piece. Not the anime. That's two piece. Sequel to one piece. Three piece. Now we're looking at a trilogy. There we go. And yeah, this only takes up three pieces, I guess. So from here we just add these armor bits to the skeletal piece. And there's our lower body. That's very simple. Let's set that aside for now. Let's continue. So we have, I think a reasonable direction to go from there would be the arms. Yeah, the arms. Why not? So there we go. Okay. Those pieces are for the knees. And what are these pieces used for? Do I need parts for the arms or for the legs? I think I need them for the legs. So this will be for the legs. But I believe we do need these, so we can grab a couple of those. Grab their counterpart. And just because we'll also grab that, and for that, here's the first sprue, fully empty. So grab those. We'll then continue off this portion. See if we need anything for here. And we have parts for the claw pieces, like I guess claws for like the claw hand. These look like forearms. Sorry if I'm not having this fully in frame. There's one forearm piece. And then our second one. Cool. We also need these pieces for the arms. So let's grab those. Nice. Okay, so we got those. Is there anything else we need? This sprue. Those are for the helmets. These are, I believe these are for the legs, maybe? Yeah, these are for the legs. And those are for the legs. Those are for legs. And these are for legs. I think if we are going to grab anything else from this sprue, it'll be the pieces for the claw hands. Of which we will be a little bit more careful with these ones, since these ones are thinner pieces. While still making sure we have it look somewhat okay. Alright. I'm gonna want to check in. How is the chat doing? Is the audio okay? So is the lighting alright? I guess the lighting should be fine. But anyway, this sprue done. let's see what we need for this sprue. Obviously, since we're working on the arms, obviously we're going to need the hands. But weirdly enough, I think this one's only comes with one hand. Usually they would have like alternate hands and stuff, even if it is, I guess, even for a character with only one like humanoid hand, I guess, and the other hand being more of a cloth weapon thing. Alright, so that's gonna look. That's obviously the feet. Those are. These are. Wait, these are the shoulders. Alright. Wait, that one. Alright, that should be okay. I'm just trying to make sure it looks at least somewhat aesthetically pleasing. Okay. That's his more shoulder pieces, because strangely enough, he only comes with one hand, but he has but he has like swappable shoulder armor. And then yeah, of course we're gonna slice and dice the blade. Cut the blade out. And that should be all those pieces we need out of there. Those are for the legs. This one's only 60 pieces. Hold on. How many pieces were the other ones? RC, the Rise of the Beast RC was 59 pieces, but she's like a smaller character, so like that makes sense. But the Rise of the Beast, but the classic class Mirage, the one we've previously looked at, that one's 66 pieces. That one has 6 more pieces. I believe the Bumblebee also has more pieces, if I can recall correctly. But with that, let's go ahead and assemble the arms. So we start off with our admittedly like rather common sort of joint piece. Alright, snap that into place. we're gonna start on the right arm. So I guess we grab this arm with the peg, with the connection on the forearm. Lock those into place. Take the hand, put it into there. Take the upper arm, snap that into place. And I guess from there we pick. And I guess from there we pick either this shoulder or one of either this shoulder or this shoulder. I even got a little like molded Autobot logos and the Maximal logo. Ain't that fancy. Let's see how both of these can look together. Not entirely sure why it comes with it comes with swappable shoulders. So yeah, like even despite it having 60 pieces on the dots, admittedly, I do think I guess we'll have to see like which one fits better with the design, I guess. But yeah, with that we can then of course you even get some more details in there. Some Decepticon logos, Autobot logos. We can attach our blade into there on a ball joint so it can swivel. There we are. So there's one arm. We'll have this shoulder on here for now, but we'll definitely see how the full build will look with both shoulders. Alright, so we have one arm done. Let's put the other one together. Snap that in. We'll attach this shoulder for now. Take the two forearm pieces for this side, snap them together, attach that. And then what we're going to do for this, because we only have one included hand, so what we're going to do instead is grab this piece, snap that into place instead of the hand, and then we grab these little like robotic finger things. So there's one. 2. I don't know if these are just specifically molded. Are these is each one of these specifically molded for each hinge, each slot, or am I just being too, or am I just not applying enough pressure? It's probably that. It's probably that one. Alright, so we got our little claw finger thing. Got our little claw machine. That's alright. That's alright. It's fine. Just kidding. I'm having a good time. Let's try that again. What? Come on. There we go. Yeah. Come on. There we go. Alright. Sweet. So, with that, here we have our arms done. Got the arms done. Let's go ahead and grab this. Yeah, you can just as easily just break these apart with your unclipped fingernails. I don't know how that would be crazy, like getting these screw parts out with your toes. That would be. I'm gonna stop talking. Hello, how are you doing? So let's move that stuff to the side, and I guess we can, from there we can start on the legs. These ones are very small pieces, which means it'll be pretty easy to accidentally break in the wrong spots. There we go. These are super tiny pieces, like super tiny. Okay, and I don't think there is a significant enough difference between these two to have separate, so we can just cut these together, and we are done with D4. From there, let's grab A1, and start cutting out pieces for the legs. There we go. There we are. Go. That's one, I guess, foot piece. How is the chat doing? There we go. And because there's just one more piece left on this sprue, let's go ahead and quickly cut. Take a second to cut this piece out. Now, then with that, we have one of the big sprues done. Here we have our mask. Ain't that fancy. And then with that, we can then, of course, cut out the parts from this sprue. There we are. We are. Okay. Got that piece out. That piece out. There we go. And then after that, we only have the pieces for the helmet left. So let's go ahead and cut those out. It's like the neck portion. And there we go. That's the other helmet piece. And with that, we are done with that sprue, and I believe that's the last sprue we're cutting. So the rest of this should just be assembly. Let's move the head pieces aside for now. Let's start with right leg first. For right leg, we slide this piece in, use this piece. Is that in right, or do I need to? Okay, so it locks in like that. Then we sandwich that in place. There we are. There we have the thigh portion. Is this the right one? I think it is. After that, these are different. These are different. Provided that nothing goes wrong, we'll use this one. Maybe this one for this? So that just locks into place. After that, we take shin leg piece, grab this leg piece, boom, then, okay, so we do grab this leg, this knee joint. Okay, so that helps. So yeah, so this one goes to there. Just know that these are mirrored, not duplicated. So you might want to be careful with those. But from there, you can just plug in the tiniest little piece I've ever seen Blokees produce. There we are. There we go. Then from there are the feet. The feet seem to be more symmetrical, but we'll use this one. So let's try to plug this in. That's our foot. How about these pieces? Just can't tell with these pieces sometimes. But I think in this case, it is just fine. That's really neat. It has like an ankle guard kind of look to it. Kind of reminds me of like a CCBS sort of Hero Factory kind of foot with some extra armoring on it. But anyway, well with that, I can now work on the other leg, I believe, because that's the knee, assemble the hip joint, attach this piece, attach that's neat, attach some knee, stick a pin in it, then after that we can plug the foot guard into there, and then plug leg into foot, and there we have the legs, which are admittedly more simple than I thought they would be. Honestly, if you ask me, possibly even a little bit too simple. Right. I'll share more of my thoughts with this later. But for now, let's work on the head. So for the head, let's grab the pieces we cut out earlier for the head. There we are. So neck joint, so yeah, don't need the extra neck joint, but we'll grab this other orange piece, we'll attach the face onto there, then from there we'll attach the top of the helmet, we'll attach, we actually clip the mask on. Okay, so we actually clip the mask on, and then we take the neck guard piece and attach that to these little nubs on the side. There we are. Oh, and that hinges. So that's, I guess, to move out of the way a little bit. Alright. And that's the head. Okay, and yeah, I guess with that we're just about almost done. Let's go ahead and like reassemble this into this, and then attach flames. Why not? we'll attach them like that for now. And then, of course, with that, we can then do our little assembly. So we'll start with the legs. We'll attach the legs to the lower body. There's our lower body right there. Let's attach I didn't want to reveal that too soon. Let's attach the body. And then the head. Look at that. Let's actually turn off the lights so we can look at that. The eyes are glowing splendidly. Weirdly enough, his neck is glowing more than. He has like a white light because of how exposed to the front of it is. It's got like the LED, it got like the white light from the LED sort of shining through the chest. Kind of wish that was somehow covered with some more orange. It kind of sell the look better. Yeah, look at that. I do, however, like the entire. I do, however, like the idea of like the torso just lighting up on fire, kind of like how his look was in the movie. But yeah, there we go, and we have Scourge all built up and put together. Got some fascinating things going on with this kit. Now here are the more spikier, I guess, like the more upward kind of. Here I have like one. Oh yeah, we do have alternate shoulders, so we can try those out. So here's how these shoulders look. Bless me. Ooh, sorry about that. So that's how those shoulders look. But for an alternate look, we can remove those. He looks kind of naked without his shoulder armor. So let's attach these ones instead. Alright. And there we have Scourge using the other shoulders. I will say, that looks pretty cool too. That looks pretty nice too. The, and I will say, you have like more details and stuff on like these shoulders too, especially with like the badges on his shoulders and like cracks and rivets and stuff. You do definitely get a bit more noticeable detail in the shoulders for this look. And yeah, I think these ones do line up a little bit better with the look that the rest of his body's trying to go for. Oops. Let me pull these off. Let me reattach this. There we go. We reattach that. Let's see, like they're both like really different styles of shoulder armor. Okay, that's interesting. I will say the like these this type of shoulder armor. Okay. So I am seeing the pluses and pros and cons between both of these shoulder types of shoulders. So for this style of shoulder, from what I'm experiencing, the pro is it's more closed up, looks a bit more solid, and also has like a more detail that is more fitting for this character. However, the con is because it's more closed up, it's more close to the arm, it doesn't pose as well. And you can obviously like try to get around that somewhat using the posability with the shoulder. And that's fine. And then as for this one, the cons is that from some angles it doesn't look as good. Doesn't look quite as good from some angles. But the benefit from that is that you can move this shoulder armor out of the way more. And yeah, allows for more posability options. So it's like it's not as restricting for the articulation. So either one, and I feel like the pros and cons do balance out for each other. So when all said and done, it really is just a like personal opinion. It really is like just a personal preference at that point. But I do appreciate them including the option for that. I guess. Really nice. Also includes like some extra pieces. Here we go. And of course the foot kind of locks onto like these studs. They're kind of like how Lego does theirs. But yeah, that looks really neat. Cool. Now, a point about what I mentioned earlier. Something about this Blockies kit that I am noticing, that I did notice compared to the other ones in this lineup. I noticed that this one is significantly more simplified compared to how the other ones were. Like for example, let's bring in like since we're gonna bring him up later, let's use Bumblebee as our example. So Bumblebee, like if we look at the Bumblebee from this lineup, it says these are like released in like the same toy line and everything. However, when you look at the Bumblebee and how this one was assembled, you have like some interest. You have like some more fascinating stuff with the assembly for this one, which was pretty neat. Like the torso, alone, like you wasn't just attaching one piece to the back, one piece to, or a couple pieces to the front. You had to like attach like a lot of detailed stuff in there. Like the yellow pieces were separate stuff, and yeah, like more complexity with this assembly and stuff. In the back, of course, you have like more stuff on the back for sure. That's pretty neat. And yeah, you can definitely see what I'm trying to do with this comparison. What for like comparing my experience with compare like the assembly between the Bumblebee and the Scourge. I do notice that this one was significantly more simplified. And I don't know if that's just because he doesn't have as many like iconic visual features. Like for Bumblebee, you have like a lot of like iconic like visual like keys for him. Like you would have like tires in the legs. You would have like an obvious like car. You'd obviously have obvious car parts in the front, doors on the back, tires on the shoulders. You'd have like obvious things like that to make it look more obvious that he does transform. Well, the character, not the kit. But as for Scourge here, like if you look at him, if you look at this guy, like if you haven't seen it from the movie, would you be able to guess like what he could turn into? I guess like the only like real indicator. I guess like the only like real indicator that this guy has kibble from his vehicle mode is definitely the smokestacks on his back, and possibly even the the roll cage, and possibly even like this piece here in the front with like what appears to be like lights and like grill, like a roll bar kind of parts and stuff like that, roll cage kind of stuff, roll cage like kind of stuff like that. So like the smokestacks and maybe even the chests. But aside from that, it's mostly just kibble with. It's mostly just Greeble without the kibble, without like any like indication of like what he would turn into. And then as a result, it like they don't he then as a result he doesn't have quite as many visual like details that indicates to you like what kind, like just how detailed he would be compared to like Bumblebee. And as a result, his assembly here would definitely seem to be more simplified. Like what I mentioned earlier, you got like so much like assembling stuff happening with Bumblebee. It's honestly impressive. But for Scourge, Scourge, like his complexity is honestly more in line with like the mystery box ones more so than the other classic class kits in his lineup. Especially since a lot of the similar building traits from the mystery box ones are still there, like the fact that it uses the shoulders, which is not a con in this case because it does allow for a bit more articulation in this case. But you can tell that compared to what the Bumblebee does, you can definitely see like how simplified this is compared to the Bumblebee. So I will give them this. But I will give them this. It does look very clean. It does look very clean. Got like it's got like a really nice clean look to it. I guess like for design wise, I guess like for design wise, I guess the only thing I can really say negatively about him is the fact that you can see, you can obviously see the LED, not only the blank like white light LED in there, but also what is clearly obviously is the neck joint, which which kind of stands out a little bit more than usual because the neck joint is in translucent orange, which yeah, like is the only translucent orange in there. That's another. Hold on, that's actually another. That's actually I actually no wait. There actually is like an actual legitimate gripe about this. The color breakup. This thing has like no color breakup aside from his neck and torso. not even the head, like, because, like, aside from the eyes and the neck, got, like, no color breakup in the head either. Got, like, neck, the eyes, neck, and a little bit of stuff in the torso. That's literally it for color. And that compared to the box, if you look at him from the box, it looks so much more impressive. Like having like a glowing orange look in the chest, and having a little bit of glowing in, and having a little bit of glowing stuff, details and stuff in the arms as well. Like, I know, like, this is, like, just for, like, the box art stuff. But, like... So here's, like, a look... Yeah, like, you definitely see... Like, you can definitely see that. Like, compared... So, even, like, comparing just this box art... Just this, like, shot of Scourge compared to this shot. Where this shot, he's just bursting out. It looks like he's bursting out with flames from his torso, as well as like having more like orange, like visible on his claw and stuff like that. Just looks like he's absolutely burning from the like an actual like a furnace from his torso. Where you compare that to this shot here, which is more accurate to how he actually is in the hand, you can see that while it still is look giving off that look, it's you definitely see a significantly less amount of color breakup. That's likely because like visual like editings and like effects that they probably use for that shots like that, where they probably still use some here because you can see that the torso is glowing, the chest is glowing orange instead of just glowing the LED light. So I do actually have a few more gripes with this one, rather like more so than any of the other ones, because out of these Blockies kits that I've experienced so far, which is a few. Oh, these ones are lighting up too. Got some. The only one that's yeah, the Bumblebee's lighting up too, but his lights are very dim. Alright, you got like lots of like light up stuff happening here. Aside from Bumblebee, which his lights are probably so dim they're probably dead. Speaking of which, I'm gonna have to come back in a second because I gotta get something. Alright. So, when I did my videos for Bumblebee, he included parts like these. So, let's do this. Alright, let's do this. So, when I did my video for Bumblebee, she included parts like these. Included like these parts which are very separate from that. This piece, not that significant. In fact, yeah, like not really much going on with the. So like this is a piece that is used for his torso, but you can see. So you see in his like abdomen area, you see like a little like a connection port, connection hole right there. What this piece is for is basically have this, like like basically for like displaying Bumblebee on its own, you basically you're supposed to have this piece in. But like but because like disassembling the chests to just swap out one piece and then reassembling that would be slightly more inconvenient. Plus, the fact that just having a tiny hole there doesn't really throw off the look that much. You can definitely see why people would just leave this piece out of the equation entirely and just leave that in. So, what you would do is disassemble the chest a little bit to take this piece out. Then what you would do is replace this piece with a piece that pretty much looks just like this, but instead of that little bit of greeble down there, you would add the piece with this connection hole thing, and then just reassemble the chest from there. So you'd swap this out, or in this case, I would already have this piece in. So what would happen next will be more interesting. So what we're going to do in this case, for Scourge, we're going to remove this and swap it out for this one that would come with Bumblebee. And the only difference here is that instead of the extended like blade portion, you'd have like a weird connection thing here. Then we would just connect that instead. Got like dogs barking in the background. And then what we do from there is attach this connection port onto this hole right here. So there we are. All right. And so after having that in there, what we then do is take this translucent orange piece, plug it into this little square hole in the back, like that. There we are. And then find out that his shoulder can't really hold up the weight of an entire figure. And this kind of works. Kinda. So yeah, you can try to pose it in a way to make it look kind of cool. And yeah, there we have Dead Bumblebee. Isn't that like a fascinating little gimmick? Let's let's try to pose it in, I guess, a more lay down kind of position. Kind of gets that look going on. There we go. Look at that. That looks great. Not great for Bumblebee, but I'd wager it would look rather unfortunate for Bumblebee. But regardless, still a nice thing to include, I guess. Then you have like his claw hands. That looks fascinating. I believe that would make it look slightly more natural. Very nice. And then we could just add like flame pieces and make it look even more gruesome. Now that's just absolutely fantastic. I like that. I think I'm gonna pose it like that for. I think I'm gonna have it displayed like this for a bit because that looks incredible. Very nice. And so, let's move this out of the way. So, with that, here we have the Transformers Blockies Classic Class Scourge, all fully assembled, and yeah, and we got to see like what he can do, and like how he's built, kinds of fancy stuff like that. It was neat. eventually eventually I would like to do like a slightly more in-depth review for this for for these for this kit in particular, because I think I already done a review for the Bumblebee. But for now, I think that'll be it uh, for this building stream. If you enjoyed the build, if you enjoyed the stream, consider to like and subscribe and maybe even interact with the chat if you want. I stream once a I stream once a weekend at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yeah, that's probably a good place to wrap it up. You have a good